another episode of Hers and Hers podcast. I'm Tay.
And I am Nik, aka Nik Space.
Hey. So today we are going to do another episode of Word Vomit because it's fun. And I know that it said happy hour on the thing, but yeah, we're going to change it.
So you want to change it to Word Vomit and not happy hour? Because
Yeah.
my idea behind the whole happy hour was like, you know, that 1 hour segment that you get when you have a good job and they give you a long lunch and you just get fucked up with your coworkers and then you come back. Because that's what happy hour is. That's happy hour.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to actually drink at happy hour. You just get the lunch special and then you go back to work.
I ain't never not drank at happy hour.
That's crazy.
I've been going back to work shit faced. So I'm like, I don't know.
But yeah, the only reason I say that is we don't have to start over. We have to start over. Okay, the only reason that I say that is because in the last episode, we said word vomit, like, I swear to God, 7 times.
But word vomit is kind of like I'm not the best with literary terms. It's kind of like a figure of speech. It's like just a whole bunch of blah, 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 blah. You know, it sounds better than raga raga time. Like, I don't know.
Raga raga time.
I feel like it flowed off the tongue better. Like Flat Stanley.
Yeah, that's fine with me. So anyway, long story short, y'all, we be on Twitter.
Word gumbo, word jumbo.
So, some of the topics that I've mainly been seeing on Twitter this week are just like topics of desirability. So I don't know if you all have seen this, but there's a woman who makes a TikTok and she's like a brown skinned woman. She has a big afro if you haven't seen the video. And she's basically just explaining how she's approaching her 30s and she feels like everybody around her is meeting these milestones as far as like starting families, getting married, these things that she feels like you should be doing as you're going into your 30s or like, you know, before you go into your 30s. And she just said that she's so tired of just like the casual scene. She had another talking phase and that's what kind of made her like, she started crying. She was like, I had another talking phase and I just can't. And she was pissed. And I went down to read the comments because like, oh God, sorry. So I was like, okay, like this woman obviously is urging her, you know, for companionship. She's yearning for this companionship from someone who is like-minded. And people were mainly commenting like, nobody feels bad for you, bitch. You're beautiful. You have a good job. You're fucking hot. You got a great voice. You got a good head of hair. Who fucking cares? You're desirable. People fucking like you. I can't hold space for you as a desirable person who can't find a romantic connection. And then this guy who said that he's an ex-incel. This is how he described himself. He said sometimes he has incel thoughts. And he didn't realize it until he got on Twitter and he started reading like other people's comments and stuff. And he was like, hey, sometimes I think like that, but this looks crazy as hell on the internet. Maybe they shouldn't have typed that out. Let me rethink some of my own thought process. And he was like, so when I first saw the video, the incel in me was like, fuck her. She's hot. Like she can have anybody she wants. And then I had to realize within myself, this woman isn't yearning for sexual partners. She can probably get a sexual partner wherever she wants. Shit, I could get a sexual partner any day of the week. Like, I'm not even that hot. I'm fat, I'm black, I'm queer, you know, I'm kind of ugly. And I was like, oh God, you know, I mean, he wasn't really that ugly, but you know, people always do things for dramatic effect. And he was like, so I had to stop and realize within myself that that's my own insecurity talking. She is actually looking for something serious and she's having a hard time finding something serious because everyone that approaches her is saying that they want something serious, having sex with her, and then it turns into a talking phase and then they stop talking to her forever.
I'm crying.
And like that happens to ugly people, it happens to pretty people, it happens to desirable people, it happens to whatever undesirable people, whatever. It happens to everybody. So he was basically I just feel like his stance was really interesting because he was basically saying like all the people who are in her comments telling her that she needs to like suck it up, like at least she's not ugly. It's just like, it's not about that. It's like you want an everyday person sometimes, or even everyday people, you know? And like if all your friends are moving into relationships or having kids, like those people can't show up for you in the same way that they were showing up for you before. So you either have to find new friends or new partners and figure out, well, I mean, obviously you can keep your old friends, but they just have less time. And I was just it just got me thinking, like, okay, why is there so much pressure on people, but women specifically, I think sometimes Black women, to like do these things, have children, get married, have the career of a lifetime before you even turn 30?
I don't know. But I will say, though, I hate to, I mean, my stance is, a lot of niggas aren't going to agree with me, but you really can't be bitching if you're desirable. If Zendaya told me that she was having issues with dating, you think I'm going to give a fuck?
Yeah.
Not really. And the whole stance of that thing was that a lot of people, because I know a lot of people who are fat, dark, queer, all of those, you know, like all of those identities, like a lot of people were talking about, a lot of people are really getting doxxed right now on Twitter because they're telling people that it's people are getting frustrated because, I hate to say it, but when you're somebody who's been considered conventionally attractive, or somebody who has been a very desirable person all of your life, you kind of think that not being able to have a successful romantic experience is almost a failure. Because as a desirable person, they're told not necessarily
this is what you have to do.
Not even necessarily that. It's not always verbalized, but it's insinuated that life is supposed to be a little bit easier, because that's what desirability is, basically pretty privilege. It's you having a different level of accessibility than other people. So people who are often cast away, fat, dark, queer people, all of these people who are in these categories, who are in these minorities, these are people who are never allowed space to voice these same opinions. So now that it's a whole bunch of people creating this big ass conversation about something that people who are these double minorities have been complaining about for years, they don't really want to hear it. Those words are kind of falling on, like, don't nobody give a, they're saying like they don't really give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole entire, I hate to say it, our entire society is mapped to make these people comfortable. So it's like, if you're a person who's considered desirable and life is not sunshine and bananas for you, it's going to be difficult for you to get empathy from people who have always been seen as undesirable, as, you know, castaways, as people who are black sheep. So it's like, these are hard things to digest for people who have always been considered a minority. No matter what they do, there's no assimilation for them because the world does not see them as people of value. So it's very difficult to ask those people for empathy. And I'm not going to sit here and say that they shouldn't empathize with anybody, but I can see why they're like, girl, you're skinny.
Do you feel like she was even asking for empathy?
I don't think that she was.
I feel like I didn't
watch the video because
she basically was like, if there's anyone that's experiencing something similar, like, tell me your stories.
There was a whole white woman.
Some people did tell their stories.
Yeah, there was
other people were like, fuck you, you pretty ass,
literally,
dumb,
that's what I'm saying. I feel like all of that. I feel like all of that is unnecessary and divisive. There was a white woman. Probably less than 6 months ago, who we talked about this a little while ago. There's a white woman that dropped a video with this same exact dilemma, and her entire thing sparked a conversation that really was a very introspective conversation about this same exact subject. But a lot of black,
wasn't it the one where she was saying that like she felt like she was an incel?
Yes, basically,
her whole life,
exactly.
And she just felt like it was completely normal because.
Yeah,
you know,
but that conversation had two different. That conversation didn't receive the same amount of vitriol.
Yeah,
and I think it's mostly because black women, there's a stigma attached to us when it comes to romance and relationships and stuff like that. So when I was scrolling for me personally, I do not think that Twitter is a safe space for women of color or black women to discuss anything that has to do with anything. Men, relationships, loves, anything. And I hate to say this, and that's why I didn't watch the video.
It isn't a safe space.
I didn't watch the video.
100%
Exactly.
Agree.
So I didn't watch the video purposely because of the abuse I saw that she was receiving. And I was just like, to me, the video, like from what I did see, it just seemed like she was just complaining about something that's natural. And I think a lot of times people would consider them, I mean, of course, I'm a strong believer in women decentering themselves from men, but I do feel like I'm not a person that's going to tell somebody that relationships or love or romance are not important. And
so we don't even know if she's a queer woman or not.
Yeah,
because
we don't know anything that she has going
exactly.
on.
She didn't give us enough information to assume that she's looking for a man. Like, she did not give us enough information for that. And also, she even mentioned in the video, I think you should really watch it because what she says is really not that crazy.
No, I'm not saying that it's crazy
what
at
the
all.
people responded.
That's
to
what I'm
her.
saying. Like
that
I've
was
seen
the part that was like,
I've seen like 100 videos just like the one that she's talking about. She says she's living in California, and I hate to say this, but most people out west are color struck.
She's brown skinned.
You're color
could
struck.
be considered dark skinned
Yeah,
in some circumstances.
that's what I was saying. Like,
and she has 4C hair.
She didn't have 4C hair.
She had really big hair. It was like up here.
She did not have 4C. She did not have 4C.
It was thicker than mine.
It was thick. It could be dense, but that was not.
Anyway,
that was not a kink or a coil. She had an afro, but she was not 4C. We're 4C, my nigga. She was not.
Her
4C.
hair was thicker than mine. My hair falls flat.
Yeah, but her shit.
Her hair was up in the air. That's why I said it was 4C. My hair falls flat.
Her shit is not 4C. You probably I'm like I don't think so, but I don't know.
But anyway,
to me, she's
long
still,
story short, it doesn't matter. She is in California. They hate black bitches out there. Like, that's just period. They do not like black. Of course, there's some men that like black women. Please do not say like, I live in California and I like black women. Nigga, we know that is not the majority.
Most of people's
what is desirable
are, like,
out there.
Rooted
People
in
want
colorism,
Janae Aiko. People want, what's her sister name? Mila J's. That's what they want.
Who that is.
That's Janae Aiko's sister.
There's like 4 of them. I have no idea.
Yeah. Anyway, long story short, they want mixed girls. That's what is desirable.
But people,
out
I
there.
saw another tweet that kind of like snowballed from that original one that she was talking about. They were saying that the reason why women have a difficult time in LA with dating is because men in LA have standards, and it'd be easier for them to go down south because men in down south don't have standards. But I feel like a lot of it is mostly when the standards that people talk so heavily about when it comes
being
to
light skinned.
It's literally colorism, fat phobia, and a whole bunch of other like different preferences that really are not preferences. They're just rooted in self-hate and discrimination.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because if it's based on preferences, and that woman if we're just talking about that woman specifically, she was well dressed, her hair was cute, she was thin, obviously. So if we're talking about European standards, like, she's definitely meeting most of them. Like, even her face, like, she had a very nicely structured face. I'm putting air quotes around that because it's like, that's subjective. But I'm just saying, like, if that's the case in LA, like, why can't this person find a partner?
I don't know. I think that people, I don't know. People don't really, relationships are weird. I think that a lot of people hyper focus on relationships, and I can understand that. I'm not going to there's nothing wrong with wanting to be in a relationship, but I hate to say it, but it's like when it comes to wanting to be in a relationship, you cannot bank off of the agency of other people. So it's like, you can't, if you want to be in a relationship, you can be in a relationship, but a relationship is not a guarantee for a life-term partnership. Yeah. And I think that some people should learn how to just take some of that energy and divest that energy of them hyper-focusing on romance and romantic relationships and start to build stronger interpersonal relationships in community and stuff like that. And a lot of people don't really focus on building community outside of their relationships or outside of romance. So they're kind of stuck feeling like they failed because they haven't had a successful relationship. And you can have lots of fruitful and abundant relationships that don't lead to intimacy or sex. And I think a lot of people just don't know how to build that outside of that. So I feel like, I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with her request at all, but I just feel like, I hate to say this, the internet is not a safe space for black women to express anything, especially not discomfort, especially not loneliness.
And I definitely feel like we have safe space. Like, we don't have many safe spaces.
No, we create everything.
Basically what I'm saying. Like,
we create all of this shit for ourselves. Yeah,
I was going to say, I don't know what her friends are hitting for, to the point where she felt like
I don't think TikTok is the place.
TikTok could help her.
TikTok is not the place, but I understand because it's just a level. It's the same thing like what's that thing that people do on Twitter? It's when people trauma dump online, not necessarily to you personally, but when people just go on one of their rants where they're just going off online, it's not even that you're looking for an audience. You're just looking for an unbiased place, and not everybody can find that in a therapist, or in community and stuff like that. So it's very easy for us to kind of just have a fucking moment, a lapse of judgment, and go online and just go off. And I feel like it's just sad.
It's just like a new age diary.
Bro, literally. It's literally the same thing. And
people used to write hella letters when they were pissed off back in colonial times.
It makes me sad that she can't even
TikToking.
And the weird part about Twitter is, like, I understand that we are all equally suffering, but I'm not about to tell somebody, like, I was just kidding about the whole Zendaya thing. But it's the whole premise of, like, just... You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't be able to hold space for her.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like I mean,
other people can, and I'm not going to tell her, I'm not holding space for you, Zendaya. Fuck you and your pretty ass. I'm just going to shut the fuck up. I'm just gonna be quiet.
Literally, so that's what I was saying. So I feel like instead of people saying that they couldn't hold space for her, that she should shut the fuck up, just don't say anything. Just don't comment. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I understand the anger of feeling like you don't have a safe space, but I feel like it gets very divisive and it's counterintuitive to deny people things. Yeah. You just don't show up for them. That's how I feel. I feel like I don't have to agree with nobody about anything, but I'm not about to tell somebody that I'm not going to give them empathy or not care about their cause because it doesn't relate to me. And that's one thing I don't understand, because I'm just like, being mean, being divisive, it's just, Twitter is just a cesspool just to be angry. Yeah, so it's like, for people to say that they don't care about her because she's considered desirable or whatever the fuck. People don't know.
Keep it to yourself.
Literally, that's what I'm saying. That
girl could be on her last straw.
Literally,
and your comment could be the thing that makes her just be like, all right, I'm done.
I'm not one of those people that's gonna say like kill them with kindness or anything like that. But I feel like the best thing you can do is just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't have to be kind either. Just be quiet.
But it has to turn into a big ass thread.
Think the things in your head, and then move on and go to the next video. You don't have to say. I mean, I feel like people just have a lot of balls on the internet. Because if that would have happened in person, if she would have been out at a party and she got on the microphone and was like, guys, I'm so drunk and I'm crying.
Nobody has the same energy.
It's because my boyfriend, nobody would say anything to her. They'd be like, oh my God, what? Why is she talking?
And that's what I was saying.
But they would not come up to her and be like, hi, I'm not going to hold space for you. So you got on the mic for no reason.
I feel like that's unnecessary. I'm holding space for all black women, even if it don't make sense to me. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. But I feel like a lot of things, even like, I don't know, because I feel like texturism, colorism, fat phobia, all of these things, like, they affect us. You know what I'm saying? They affect us.
Sometimes personality types.
Exactly.
There's
so
people
it's like,
who are introverted, and sometimes it hinders them from just going on a normal ass date.
That's what I'm saying. So it's just like, I don't know. Because I have people who I get treated vastly different based off of hair type. I don't even have to have a certain personality type. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just of how I physically present, just how people perceive me. So it's like, I understand where she was coming from, but I understand what it's like to be not even considered level of desirability.
You notice that type of stuff most when you like change something drastically about
literally
yourself. Like whenever I straighten my hair,
It's always some backhanded ass comment about something.
You look
like,
so pretty. I love when you straighten your hair. Blah blah blah. Like, I be looking like this every day, nigga.
Bruh.
Or when you get braids, like the type of people that approach you.
I have like my comments they'll get so nasty. Like anytime I do anything with my physical appearance, especially with my hair or anything like that, like my comments on Instagram would be, oh, like you're not trying to be, or you don't want to be yourself anymore, this and that. And it'd be people I don't even know. So I'm just like, just being hyper visible fucking sucks. So it's like, I can understand you. Here's the fucked up part about what we're dealing with present day. You could literally make a simple video, and you could have 200 followers and make a simple video, and that one person shares that video and it goes viral, and now you're just
2 million people
you're just subjected to abuse. Even that video of that girl we're talking about right now, that we're referencing right now, I literally was trying to get people to get that tweet taken down because of how badly she was getting abused, to where she had to make a second video.
No, she made 7 videos.
Literally, I don't even care about the subject matter. I'm just seeing a black woman.
Made 7 videos.
I don't even give a fuck about the subject matter. I'm seeing a black woman getting abused because she decided to be vulnerable, and it's difficult enough for people to be vulnerable and transparent in this day and age. So it's
crazy,
like, delete that shit.
It took her like a day to respond, and she was like, I see people telling me to delete this video, and I was gonna delete it, but I'm not fucking deleting this shit. She was like,
Stand on her shit.
She was like, I said it. That's how I fucking feel.
And there was nothing wrong with what she said.
If you feel like what I said doesn't resonate with you, just don't
scroll
fucking
away,
talk to me. My DMs are open if you want to ask me questions, but don't come to me on no troll shit. I will not respond.
I've had the same issue. I've expressed difficulty with dating before, like a few years back. I was just randomly talking about something.
Dating is shitty everywhere.
It is, and it was like, you guys don't understand. Like, a lot of us are dealing with different, like, these, not even that we're not trying to be around people. That's what people always say, the same fucking bullshit. You're not going where your desire. You're going with, you're only trying to be with people that you want to be with.
And because I'm not making a livable wage. Where am I gonna go? None of us are making livable wages.
This guy, and so I guess some guy was some passive aggressive ass guy who was been trying to talk to me for however the fuck long, was like, there's lots of men that want to be around you. You're just ignoring them. And I was like, no,
okay, well, you're crazy.
I was like, you don't meet the standards to date me. And that's okay, but you're not about to sit here and tell me that I'm overlooking people because they don't meet my standards. That's not me overlooking anybody.
No, I looked at you and then I looked away.
Literally. And
because you're a mess.
That's what I'm saying. So it's just like, it's weird. And I feel like the first thing that they said was, this girl literally was like, well, this is the fucked up part about it. She was just like, she's like, I'm not feeling sorry for anybody that's considered desirable. And then not only that, you probably got a shitty personality. And I'm just like, then there's this new thing that's happening. Not even,
it's
not
out of your way to tell me that I have a shitty personality. You ain't never met me.
I won't even say that it's a new thing, but there's this reoccurring statement that I keep seeing about people saying that people who benefit from desirability are inherently morally corrupt.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the fuck? That's weird as fuck to me. Like,
yeah, I think it's really interesting.
Like,
yeah,
what?
I feel like it's I'm not going to say that it's reasonable, but I'm going to say I feel like initially the stigma was that
I think it's dramatized.
The stigma was that people who are unattractive are the ones who are committing heinous crimes and acts against others. That's definitely an agenda.
Yeah.
I recognize it. We see it in movies all the time.
Especially when they make the villains darker.
Creeper,
like,
yeah, every time there's a creeper, he has on glasses, he has a certain type of mustache, he's balding, he lives with his mom. Like, we get it. There's people that are balding with glasses and mustaches that live with their mom, and they're not harming people. They're great.
You just named like 8 niggas that I know who are great people, by the way.
Yeah, but so maybe they're trying to flip the agenda. Because I feel like this goes back into what we talked about last week. The oppressor or the oppressed sometimes
to change the dynamic,
want to
the power
become
dynamic.
The oppressor.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, okay, no one should be treated like this. This is really shitty. They say, I'm going to start treating people like this. I'm going to form this narrative. I'm going to create this thing that puts me on top.
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know what it is, because even regardless of, I mean, of course, I do benefit from some conventional beauty standards, but it's like at the end of the day, like, I could never in my life, regardless of what I've been through in my life, and I've had a very, very, very strenuous life, but regardless of what I've been through in my life, I could never not hold space for people. And not only that, but I could never, ever make somebody feel the way that I felt when I felt ostracized, when I felt cast out, and all of that. That's not something that I would ever want to replicate for somebody else. So that's why I feel like the easiest thing that you can do when you don't have a good, when you don't have good things to say, or when you have a differing opinion that might not be translated well, is to just keep your words to yourself. Or get a diary, bitch.
Yeah,
or
I was going to say, journals and diaries still exist.
Get a
if
fucking
you all
Finsta.
didn't know, purchase one, write it down there.
Yeah,
but put it on your Finsta. Like, screenshot the thing, post it on your Finsta, and then be like, hey, I stumbled across this. This is what I think about it. And your 10 little friends can see whatever the hell you're talking about.
But I realized that my triggers, I was talking about this the other day online. I was like, a lot of times what I've learned over the years, because I had a friend and I remember one point in time I was I'm still a sensitive person, but I'm not as hypersensitive as I used to be. But my friend was telling me that when I do feel triggered by something, the best thing that I can do before I try to attack that trigger is to revisit why I'm irritated by it, to revisit why that feels like a wound to me. So it's like when I read things or when I find myself in spaces or places where I'm uncomfortable, I have to really, get introspective and really think why this is bothering me. So it's like, I of course been jokingly saying we can't hold space for people, but for somebody who has spent an entire lifetime ostracized, marginalized, and being cast out, it might be very difficult for them to revisit those triggers and to actually get introspective, because all they know is pain behind that door.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of us are like this when it comes to triggers and stuff like that. So I can't necessarily be upset with people who can't find empathy for other people, especially people who are so used to being underrepresented and disrespected and undermined, like berated and all that type of shit. So it's like, I get it, but you don't have to, you don't have to project those emotions onto other people. I'm at a point right now where there's so much shit going on in America that everybody should be angry. Everybody is kind of getting the short end of the stick. So it's like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? I feel
Except for white men. I don't.
Yeah, well, yeah,
they're
they're not getting it. Yeah.
Never will.
Not them. But yeah, I don't know. Desirability is a weird thing, but it's very real. Yeah. All of us benefit from something in some way.
I feel like people are just willfully ignorant.
That's exactly what the fuck it is.
The other day when we were trying to explain to this guy, he came into our spaces and he was like, okay, you guys are talking about phobias and fat phobia.
Oh,
so
yeah, I forgot about that guy.
If a fat woman is standing next to me and I tell her, like, get away from me, that doesn't make me fat phobic. That just means that I don't want to be next to a fat woman. And then he read the definition of phobia out loud to us. And the definition of phobia is long story short, an irrational fear, a fear based on
he really could not understand that,
based on irrational logic,
especially when it came to like him talking about trans people and stuff like that. I don't understand like what about somebody being transgender or like just trans or whatever.
So if a trans person is in the same, and he literally made this example. So if a trans person is in the same room as me and I tell them to leave the room, am I transphobic? Sir, yes.
I don't get it. I don't understand.
Are you listening to the definition that you just said?
What is so
just explained to
like
us?
I don't understand the fear. I really don't get it. Yeah. I feel people feel like I don't know what people's affliction is with trans people or people who are queer. You know what I'm saying? Like LGBTQI plus people and stuff like that. But they act as if touching them will turn them into something. So It's like it's the same irrational fear that people have with black people. So it's like
if I'm associated with black people, now I'm lazy. I can't
stupid,
get a job.
Lazy, unconcerned.
I'm a criminal.
Like, yeah, I don't get it. I'm just like, you can't really explain your fear of people because of how they physically present or how they identify or whatever. So it's like, I'm not.
Honestly, if that's the case, then we should all be scared of white men because they have 700, 800 plus years of raping and pillaging and colonizing. Even entire Earth.
What was I gonna say? Even with with this whole thing with like I'm so sorry, I had a brain fart. But yeah, people talking about that with like black people, trans people, all these, like I just don't understand it. And I think that instead of revisiting the issue with it, people just want to make it a thing to where these people are ostracized even more than they already are. And I'm like, these are just regular people. I've had queer people, LGBTQI people, I've had trans people really show up for me. And you know what I'm saying? And these aren't even, they're just regular people who are in my community, but I don't understand like purposely ostracizing yourself and a whole group and minority of people just because you quote unquote don't understand them. There's nothing to understand. It's humanity. Yeah. They're human just like you are.
I've definitely learned that majority of it doesn't typically start. Like, okay, yeah, some of it starts in people's homes. But a lot of the stuff that they're witnessing in their home isn't necessarily directly from like their parent or guardian. Yeah. Sometimes it's literally like what's on the TV in their house. Because like when I was younger, I remember watching shows like Dr. Oz, Oprah, and then my grandparents, they watched the news a lot. And I used to stay with my grandparents for like 3 months out of the year. And then eventually I ended up moving in with them. Yeah. And with watching the news, like the narratives that the news can form with a simple hairline, with a simple,
with the hairline.
The headline with a simple headline is very interesting because like I've seen headlines like they won't use trans women. They'll be like men dressed as women posing as women in prostitute situations. Be careful.
The fucked up part to me was when
nigga, what?
It's when they made the gender neutral bathrooms and people were afraid of trans women assaulting people. And I'm like, my nigga, the only people I've heard of assaulting anyone in the restroom was a man.
What if a man who looks like a woman
hetero man
comes inside of the bathroom and tries to harm me? Trust me, that can happen in your woman or man bathroom. Anyone can just walk in there. It's not like the bathrooms are locked. They're public restrooms.
Your wife does not like looking at your penis. Why would somebody else come inside the bathroom? Nice dick, bro.
I mean, that can happen, but it can happen in any bathroom. It doesn't matter if the bathroom is gender neutral.
I remember when I was a kid, the scariest part to me was going out in public with my mom and me having to use a bathroom and her, like one of my other siblings not being there. Yeah. And her, like her being like, okay, like I'll stand out. My mom used to go in the bathroom with me because we had a friend who, this is so sad. When I was a kid, one of my mom had a friend who lost her son inside of a bathroom stall because some man followed him in the bathroom after he had went in there by himself and sexually assaulted him and killed the child in the bathroom. So I'm just like, so when I was a kid, my mom did not let me out of her sight. So I'm just like, the scariest thing to me in a bathroom was a straight white guy or a straight, like a cis hetero predator coming in there after me and doing something to me. It's never been somebody.
The sign on the door changed.
My nigga,
like it's literally still unlocked. Literally, anybody can walk up in there.
So it's like I just don't get it. I feel like people just want to make dumbass excuses to fulfill their ignorance. I don't get it.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I don't know.
And honestly, I'm kind of tired of talking about desirability. Like I just feel like, okay, we get it. Like there's pretty people, there's people who aren't conventionally attractive. Like, I'm not about to say that people are ugly. I just don't necessarily believe in that, unless you're white. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
But
it's just the only reason why is because it's beginning to. I hate to say this, but it's beginning to like inflict. A lot of people are being inflicted with violence because of their level of desirability. At one point in time in 1960, if you was ugly or whatever the fuck, you was over there. But now that people are choosing to show up for themselves online and create these safe spaces for themselves online, they're being met with abuse in vitro from people just because they aren't considered attractive. So I understand, but the crazy part to me is that even though we've been having these conversations for decades, everything is just getting to a point to where it's just redundant. It's just the same things. People don't want to change. People don't want to acknowledge anything, and people are still being abused, cyberbullied to the brink of them killing themselves.
People are being abused beyond their death.
Exactly,
like, with
bruh.
this woman, I think her name is Lauren.
Oh, Lauren Smithfield?
Yeah, she was just
Rest
killed.
in peace, Lauren.
She was just killed, and I feel like I shouldn't even have to say allegedly, but by a white man. She went on a date with this white man.
Bruh, have you heard?
Who is bald-headed, who has a tendency of doing this. Apparently,
literally other women came out and said that
the women that he's been on dates with in the past came out and said that they woke up in their apartments
don't remember
not knowing how they got there, or they woke up in his apartment not knowing how they got there. So he obviously has. This is what he does. He goes on dating websites, finds women,
literally, and
goes on dates with them, drugs them, and then takes them back to their house or maybe his house. I don't know. And the police were not looking into it at all.
Come to find out, he's friends with one of the detectives that.
They're both probably in on this shit.
Yeah, so it's
unfortunately,
so sad.
It is a sick
It sounds
world.
like Gothica.
Yeah, it's a sick world, and people are doing sick shit.
Yeah,
people are sickos.
This is facts.
And it's just crazy because a lot of the narrative that I've heard around her is that, like, oh, she's pretty, she must have been a sex worker. Oh, she's pretty and she probably goes on dates with guys all the time. I wonder if she did something to make
They called
him
her
mad.
a gold digger. They said so much about that girl.
That's why she's dead, is because she's going on dates with white men just for their money. And it's just like, she's dead, nigga. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
People are just
like, let people rest in peace.
They can't do that.
Shut the fuck up.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like this. There's so many, and that's the fucked up part about it is like, but desirability when it comes to black women is black. Not even necessarily black women, but when it comes to black people and desirability, so much of that desirability kind of snowballs into us like receiving the short end of the stick and us getting like things getting very violent for us. Yeah. Oftentimes ending in death. A lot of black women who are not perceived a certain type of way, who are not considered valuable, who are not considered high value, who are not considered, worthy, all types of stuff, they end up being murdered. Yeah. Like even when it comes down to partner on partner violence. A lot of these women are told, the abuse that they get is you're fat, you're dark, you all these different types of things. And then that subjects them to the level of physical abuse, which snowballs into them unfortunately losing their lives.
Yeah, because it usually starts mentally. Like,
literally, they're breaking these people down.
You don't just meet the guy that day and he whoops your ass.
Bruh,
like,
no.
Sometimes that happens, but a lot of times it's a long game.
It's a long
manipulative game, and then it eventually just gets worse and worse and worse. And typically the person causing harm, they have an agenda.
Literally.
When they first get there. They have an agenda and they have a style of how they're going to harm you.
All
and they've
users have a
9
pattern.
times out of 10 done it before in a different way, and it's just gotten worse as they've gotten away with it.
That's the thing though, with the whole this whole thing with the desirability and stuff like that. Well, the sad part about it is of course the conversation is getting tired or whatever, but a lot of people, like, it's fucked up. I see a lot of women who are conventionally attractive, but they're a little bit darker, or they present, they might be a little bit larger, all this type of stuff, and they're getting death threats online. A lot of women are getting subjected to all. This is what I'm saying. Like, black women are getting, but Twitter's not a safe space at all. They already talked to the dude who owns Twitter, Jack, and they were talking about how black women are more subject to abuse on Twitter.
Yeah,
didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. So it's statistically proven. It's not like people are just pulling information out of their ass.
Literally. So
I have to have this conversation regularly with men about how, like, okay, so women will go online and they'll say things like, fuck the patriarchy, men are trash, blah, blah, blah. And men will feel like there's no place in the world for me because all I see online all day is that all men are trash.
Go outside.
That's literally what my argument is. It's like, you go outside and that's your safe space. I actually have to create cultivate, figure out who the
This
safe
the first
people
time women
are,
have
and
able
bring
to,
them to the space. I literally have to do all of that.
This is the very first time women have actually been able to openly vocalize what's been going on. Niggas probably be happier with us going back to the streets with picket signs.
Why I've been having this conversation is because basically a lot of women have been having events where cis men are not allowed. So if you guys have ever heard of Pussy Palace, they're in UK and they have events and cis men are not allowed. Like, you have to be queer, you have to be a woman, you have to be
Didn't we have a party out here like that too? There was a girls only party. I forgot who was running it.
Oh yeah, that is a party out here. But yeah, long story short, there's a lot of parties that happen out here like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of parties that just happen in general, but I use Pussy Palace as an example because they do it on the largest scale. It's been like 3 years strong.
Fire.
And they actually don't allow men in the space, like, period. They don't even let men pay to get in. And the event that was happening in Atlanta, you could pay to get in if you were a man. So there were a lot of men in that space.
Okay. I thought they had to be invited by women. I thought niggas was just sneaking in. You be dancing with a girl and a nigga invited right by women,
but that doesn't mean that they're safe. So that's, for me, that's not necessarily a safe space.
Yeah, of course.
That's kind of why I say that. But Pussy Palace is like, you can show up with your girlfriend and they'll say, we're bringing your girlfriend inside, go home, nigga.
Yeah, literally.
Like, I've been to the parties and I've seen them do it. They're like, you're white, are you gay? They're like, no, like, go home. They're literally like, y'all can all stay, you gotta go home. And he's but I'm here with all my friends. They're like, we don't care.
I've been hearing that a lot about queer people saying that about straight people, cis people inside of their safe spaces. It's opening them up to violence because more men are feeling comfortable in these spaces.
Exactly. And that's why we have to cultivate spaces like this, because okay, you guys already have every other party in America to go to. If you can't go to this one event that happens once a month, you're gonna be okay. And we're gonna have a really good time without you.
But the entitlement is so crazy.
Sorry. Yeah, because it's really all about feeling excluded. And it's like, imagine feeling excluded. That's crazy.
I wish I could walk my dog at night.
In a world where I'm a black woman in a white male-led patriarchy. Imagine feeling excluded. Did it hurt? Nobody cared. Or it's like, okay, yeah, maybe y'all care.
But it's not oppressive.
Maybe you should create a safe space for men that can't get into this party.
It's going to be a whole bunch of
you guys can all have a safe space together.
They don't even think about that type of shit. That's why I don't
Hilarious.
This is why I don't really, like, when niggas say that women hate, like, black women hate black men, we really don't.
No, we don't. It's the only reason y'all are alive. Literally, we carried y'all niggas through slavery. Y'all were giving up. Y'all were letting people come in and take us and your children, and y'all weren't doing anything about it. And there were hundreds of millions. I'm sure there were people who were doing things about it, but I'm just saying, black women put us on their backs and carried us through to what I guess I can't say freedom because I don't feel very free.
Freedom.
But yes.
Yeah, to the south
whatever
side
we're living in now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like all the pillars in those movements are black women, and I just don't really understand how.
What do you think we could do to I don't know, what do you think we could do to help combat the divisiveness and people just not being able to?
I don't think we can do anything about it. I think these niggas need to read more. There's a lot of nuance in what we're saying.
I was talking about this yesterday.
We can't do shit for you.
I was talking about this yesterday.
If you feel hit by if you feel hit by seeing the fact that women have a safe space, that means you're probably crazy as hell.
This is facts.
You don't have to be included in everything. It's just like white people inserting themselves in every single interracial relationship on television.
We were talking about this.
Not every single interracial relationship includes a white person.
Literally.
It's okay. Y'all don't have to be everywhere. We can still respect each other. Men don't have to be included in everything, and we can still respect each other.
I think that's the problem. Women center men, and men are just so men are so societally, like, ingrained. Men are so socially ingrained to believe that the world has to center them.
Yes. And it's crazy because they want us to stop saying, like, okay, be happy that we have these safe spaces, or be happy that you have spaces. That's what they've been doing to us for years. Women couldn't vote.
We literally couldn't have bank accounts till the late 70s.
We couldn't have bank accounts.
Oh, the people don't even know the suicide rate for married women.
My grandmother didn't have a bank account.
The suicide rate for women who were married during in the 21st century was so bad because women could not divorce and leave their husbands. Women were literally killing
The
themselves.
insanity. And it's like
Literally.
we've been excluded
To get out of marriage.
We've been excluded from high level situations for the longest time. And guess what we did? We gave up.
Literally. We adapted. We gave up.
We didn't give up, but we adapted and we started to form our own safe spaces. That's what these safe spaces are. They're places that we can exist wholeheartedly without feeling like we have to be adjacent to men in order to like see some sort of success.
That's a lot of unlearning though. That's going to be a lot of societal unlearning on women's part and on men's part. But that's what I'm saying. Like me, I'm unlearning how to decenter. I'm unlearning how to not center men in my life. And it has been so fulfilling and freeing for me because I was raised on the backs of women who literally were hindered so much in their lives because of their proximity to the men that they were with. And there's nothing wrong with having close proximity to men, but these relationships were very harmful. And this is kind of what burned me to believe these things now. So I do believe that I can be in love and in companionship with people and with men and things like that. But I do not feel like my life is going to be sustained on the back of a partner.
Yeah, and it's not. I mean,
there's so much more to life than that.
Unfortunately, like individualism to an extent, I think is healthy.
Yeah,
like I do believe that you can exist within a community, but a big part of existing within a community is making sure that anything that you can take care of on your own is taken care of, because you don't want to put that burden onto the people around you. And then also being healthy enough within yourself to be that community for others. Like, okay, I see that my brother or my sister is struggling. Let me make sure that I'm good so that I can take care of any area where they fall short.
Literally.
And that's the part that I feel like a lot of us are missing. Like they exist simultaneously.
So many of us are operating from a place of lack. So it's not that people don't want to give. People are such in a survival mode that they don't know if they can give without harming themselves.
And even when they're in a point where they can afford to give, they're so afraid to give because they think that if they give, it'll be like their last.
Literally at a detriment to them. And that's the saddest part about it. It's like selflessness is so hard to practice when you are coming from a place of scarcity. And it's very difficult to be that person for other people when you're used to having nobody. And I think a lot of people, it's not even that they aren't used to having anybody. They just don't know what it looks like to be that person who sacrifices things or who even shares, even down to knowledge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even the way that people gatekeep knowledge by the verbiage that they use. Even the things that they say online, they are purposely using high level academic language to keep certain people out of understanding what they're trying to vocalize.
They've been doing it for years.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but all in all, I feel like the best thing you could ever do for somebody else is just try to save space for them if you can, even if you don't agree, even if you don't empathize with somebody.
You literally don't have to say shit. You can just be like, damn, okay, I hear you.
Literally. That's how I'm feeling.
It. You don't even have to be like, yeah, girl, because when this, and this, and tell a story about your life. Don't nobody give a fuck. Listen to me right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. That's the best thing I've done. The best way for me the easiest thing for me to be able to be a better friend recently has been me being able to hold space for people. So even if it's just me listening to somebody, that's doing so much more.
Maybe ask some targeted questions.
Literally,
so that they can come to the conclusion on their own.
People be acting like it's gonna pull teeth just to be nice, bro. Please.
But also hire a professional.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times your friends don't have space to hold for you because they too need a fucking therapist. Because we are all in a world where everything is fucked.
Basically.
And yeah, that's where I am now.
No, I'm there too. I'm definitely there too right now too.
Where I am.
Literally,
no matter how people present, something everybody's fucked up is definitely going on.
Literally,
it's unfortunate, but
everybody's an onion. There's very much layers to all of us.
Mm-hmm. You got to peel them back until you get to the core.
Basically,
shout out to Shrek.
Literally fucking best film ever. You guys follow me on Reddit. I'll tell you guys my name.
Oh my God. I know it has to do with Shrek.
No. It's like brown something like brown bear. Lady.
Y'all follow her and ask her for her Reddit. Because it's probably is it all about Shrek?
It's just Shrek and like Indian astrology. Like that's the only thing I talk about on there.
I'm crying.
I fucking love Shrek.
Okay, well, yeah, that's all for me.
Yeah, no donkey.
Thank y'all so much for listening to us again, just kind of throwing up words. Again, this is Hers and Hers podcast. I'm Tay.
You already know Nik, aka Nik Space. You guys don't go ahead and follow my girl Tay Nikki, Tay Sick Thoughts on the socials.
And Nik Space on socials. And we'll see you guys next week.
It's the same thing.
Bye.
Bye.